Did your nipples get bigger? Great question. Hi everyone and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I wanted to tell you guys all about my breastfeeding journey. So I breastfed both of my sons, Luke and Noah. Noah, I am still not, we'll go back to that. With Luke, I breastfed him for about 5 months, almost 6 months actually, but it was really hard because I was working full time. With Noah, it was a lot easier simply because during COVID, he stayed home and I stayed home. So during that first 4 months of his life, it was he was always at home, I was always at home, so it was really easy to breastfeed him. So I asked some people if they had any questions or anything about breastfeeding that I can hopefully help. So I think this video is pretty hopefully informative and I hope it helps you guys, so here we go. During pregnancy, did you change your diet to increase, so I don't know why I'm screaming. To increase milk production? Absolutely not. During my pregnancy with Noah, all I did was eat, sleep, and I did not move. I gained a lot of weight, and so no, I didn't change anything about my diet. I ate quite a bit. This was again during quarantine, so I was pregnant with Noah late November of 2019, and so in March, everyone knows that's when really COVID hit the United States, and so I was home pretty much all day long and I didn't do anything except eat and sleep. So no, I did not change my diet. How many times in the day or night did you pump? So actually I never used my breast pump that was supplied by the insurance company. And side note, but if you are in America and if you have insurance, the one thing that we get is a free pump. So I don't know if anyone knew that. However, be sure that if you are pregnant to contact your insurance company or just go online and just type in like free breast pump by insurance, and there's multiple websites and you can literally just enter in your insurance number and then they will contact your insurance company and then you can get a free breast pump. So, but on that note, no, I didn't really breast pump. What I did use was I used these two things. This is called, and these are washed, the Haakaa. These are amazing. You can buy it on Amazon for about $12. This is the second generation, I think. The first generation, I had it with Luke and I loved it. However, it didn't have this base on it, so it fell over all the time. So I think Haakaa kind of got the idea that these fall over quite a bit. So now the newer generation ones, they have this base so you can suction it. So it's actually quite awesome. Not only that, but it holds more. I think with Luke's, it held 4 ounces. This one holds over 5. So this is where the 5 ounce mark is. And you can see you can really fill it up. During my time with Noah breastfeeding, I used these all the time. This is pretty much the only breast pump I use. I could probably fill up a lot. Probably on average, I got about 6 to 7 ounces. If I used both, if I just used one, I got anywhere between 3 to 4 on average. So I got a lot. This is really easy to use. And I got a lot of questions about this. I talked about this a lot in my stories when I was using this all the time. But every time I breastfed Noah with one breast, I would use this one and I would suction it on and it would actually just hold on with suction. So no batteries, no wires or anything like that. You literally just put it on your nipple, suction it in and then push it and it will hold. Sometimes Noah would kick it off, to be perfectly honest. However, I did save a lot of breast milk with that. So these are awesome. Again, Haakaa, it's awesome. The link to buy it on Amazon is in the bio after that. Okay, on that note, I didn't even answer the questions. How many times a day did you pump? I never pumped with the actual breast pump. I pumped one time for about 20 minutes when Noah was 5 days old. I used the Medela pump and style, I think. It was, again, free with insurance. I got probably about like this little. It's because I was only really getting colostrum at that time too, and I never used it again. So I only used these to store milk, to save milk, and it was awesome. It was all I needed. And I honestly think it's a lot of people just need. Okay. Thoughts on filler and Botox while breastfeeding? This was one of the most popular questions I got, and I think it's because I am an aesthetic nurse, and so this is what I do for a living. So with filler and Botox, I do not do any patient that tells me they are breastfeeding or pregnant. Okay, and the reason being is there have not been any studies in showing that breastfeeding while Getting fillers or Botox is safe, so that is why many injectors, including myself, do not inject people that are pregnant or breastfeeding. Are you still exclusively breastfeeding? I am not. So Noah is almost 7 months old. Oh God, actually he is 7 months old. He turned 7 months old 2 days ago, and he is on formula. Sometimes he still suckles at my breast. However, really, I don't have that much milk left. I've been working Monday through Friday, some Saturdays and Sundays, and so just the less he's on the boob, just in general, the less a baby's on the boob, the less milk your body is going to produce. Plus, I think once I went back to work, my breast just really knew, and so it wasn't producing as much milk. So he is on formula right now, and you know, whatever he can get out of my breast, he does, but he really doesn't go on my breast anymore, unfortunately. So it's more so formula. And I'm gonna do a whole video on formula. If you guys wanna see that, let me know. Did you have any issues breastfeeding? So to be honest, I really didn't. With Noah, it was pretty hard at first, just simply because it hurt. And I don't know if other people have experienced this, but basically the first week after you give birth and you're breastfeeding, every time he latched on, it didn't necessarily, okay, my boobs look really saggy. They're not usually this saggy, but they look really saggy. Let me cover it up. So with my second, and I've heard this happens, it gets worse the more pregnancies you have, because I looked it up, and they say that your uterus starts to obviously contract after having a baby. The more babies you have, the more it hurts. So every time Noah sucked on my boob for that first week and a half, it hurt so bad, not because the actual breast and the pain from that, but the actual uterus was tightening every single time he sucked on my breast. So that was so painful. Probably one of the few times that I teared up, only because really the uterus, it was killer. Whereas with Luke, I didn't experience any of that. It was just more so like a journey on trying to remember how to breastfeed, or how to learn how to breastfeed. But in terms of like having milk production, I always had a decent amount of milk. In fact, I had much more with Noah this time in comparison to Luke. And I think it's just simply because I was home all the time with Noah. And this is, again, what really helped me too. Can you show how your breasts and nipples look after implants? So while I will not show you my actual breasts and nipples, you can see it here. I am wearing a breastfeeding bra only so I can show you guys. However, now I don't even really wear a bra. This is a breastfeeding tank. I honestly could only find this. It was a black tank, but it worked out perfectly for my video today. This is from Target. It's Isabel. Sorry, it's not a breastfeeding, it's a maternity tank. So it's just a little bit bigger, I guess, but it works perfectly. You can't even tell it's a maternity tank. And I am wearing a breastfeeding bra. So this nice thing about a breastfeeding bra, it latches in and out. So I became really good at this right here. I bought these on Amazon. They're great. I bought a pack of 3 for probably about $40, and I actually bought them with Luke. So these are really old. I threw away one of them, and this one is on its way out as well because it survived like 4 years of babies and boobs. Did you pump at work? So once I started back at work, so I started working really hard in November. And November is when I opened up my business, but also when I started injecting again as well. I would just bring these with me, and this I would use it when my breasts would get engorged. I would do it on my lunch break, and you literally just put both. So when both of them are on the breast, that's when you know it's kind of like, it is like pumping. So you just put it on, suction it, and then I'd let it cool down at room temperature. Then I'd pour it into a bag, and then I'd freeze it, or I would refrigerate it and I'd freeze it at home, or leave it for Noah the next day when I had work. So again, these are awesome. Side note too, this is not a paid ad. Sometimes I wish I did have anything that was paid. However, nothing I do is really ever paid, but these are awesome for the 10th time. Did your nipples get bigger? Great question. Actually, it didn't with Noah, but with Luke, it definitely did. So I think with Luke, it's because I pumped a lot too, and I pumped actually using the Medela. And they say that when you pump using an actual breast pump, the nipples actually do get bigger. So yes, my nipples did get bigger, and they didn't really get smaller. So I think with Noah, they didn't get bigger just simply because they couldn't get any more bigger, if that makes any sense. Can you breastfeed after breast augmentation? This too was one of my most popular questions I got. And yes, you absolutely can breastfeed after getting a breast augmentation. I went underneath, that is where my incision is. I did not go through the areola. Even if you go through the areola, you can still breastfeed. However, I chose to go underneath for my incision, and I have a video talking about that as well. If you scroll down. And I do heavily think that there was really no changes in my breast with Luke or with Noah. With Luke, I did not have breast implants, and I breastfed him just fine. With Noah, I had breast implants, gigantic breast implants, and I breastfed him just fine too. So don't be scared to not get your breast implants if it has anything to do with breastfeeding. So yeah, and my boobs didn't change too much actually. Now that they're not engorged anymore, because I really don't have much milk at all, they actually look pretty normal. So they are a little bit saggier, but I kind of like that because I feel like before my boobs sat pretty high, which I also liked in that moment, but now I like it a little bit saggier. So these are my breasts. Alternative milk to give Noah after he stops breastfeeding. So I use Hip. I buy it online. It's from Germany and I love it. I used it with Luke. I researched a lot about different formulas, and I think Hip and Whole are two very superior formulas. Let me retract that statement. I think Hip and Whole are great alternatives for American-made formulas. Sometimes I will use Similac for Noah just simply because it's so easy. You could buy it at Costco, Amazon, anything like that. However, Hip is what he's on right now and he loves it. Again, I buy it online you can buy it, just type it in, and there's all these like third-party vendors that sell it. So Hip. That is what I use for Noah. But again, there's no issues with using Similac, Enfamil, or anything like that. I still use Similac for Noah, kind of, but more so I use Hip. Differences in breastfeeding Noah versus Luke. So there weren't really any major differences. The biggest difference I've noticed is that with Noah, I was a lot more confident. I think especially because I was home all the time. With Luke, I was actually at work. So I had to pump, I would feed him, I would get so engorged. With Noah, it was so easy, especially in those first couple of months, simply because we were both at home. So we really established a strong bond with breastfeeding and with each other, just simply because we were home all the time. So it made it a lot easier, to be honest. So I think with Noah, it was significantly easier than with Luke. What was I? Okay, best breast pump. So best breast pump. I'm in a first time mommy group on Facebook, and a lot of people like the Spectra too, or the Medela pump and style. Medela, I have it, it's okay, I like it, it's nothing super great. I used it a lot with Luke. Again, I didn't really use it ever with Noah. Spectra, the first time mommy group, people love the Spectra. To be honest, I had it with Luke as well. I didn't really like it. It like died on me the first 2 weeks or something like that. So I don't know what happened there. But, and also too, this is classified as breast pump as well, the Haakaa, for the 100th time. Okay. Any special care for breast soreness? There's a lot of different nipple creams that you can buy. I always buy them or get gifted them, but I never really end up using them, only because I know they are safe for babies. They wouldn't have it on the market, hopefully not, if it wasn't safe for the babies to consume. However, for me, I didn't really use anything on my nipples at all. My nipples weren't that sore. Did you lose weight with breastfeeding? Absolutely not. I did not. Everyone told me that I would lose a ton of weight with breastfeeding. I still have about 10 pounds to lose. I gained about 37, I think, at my highest of my pregnancy with Noah, which was a lot higher than with Luke. With Luke, I lost my weight instantly, and I think it's just simply because I gained about 20 something pounds. I was super active. I was working every single day while pregnant and after pregnancy. And with Noah, I was at home during my entire pregnancy pretty much, and I was at home pretty much my entire pregnancy for at least the first 4 months of his life. So no, I did not really lose weight that fast with Noah. I still have a lot of weight to lose. Food and drinks to help promote lactation. So again, nothing is sponsored, but these are lactation cookies. These are from My Moody Cookies. They are so good. It's one of the businesses that I found on Instagram, and I actually asked her to make lactation cookies. So yeah, and then she made them. And these have oatmeal in it, flaxseed, brewer's yeast, all which help with breastfeeding. And these are great. I showed a video too, so let me clip back. Let me see if I can do this. I'll clip to a video that I took after I microwaved one. super ooey gooey, and they're just bomb. So she's really, really nice. So I've been really big on trying to support small businesses. So these cookies, my Moody cookies, and again, I'll link it below. Okay. Also too, water. Water, oh my God, this water bottle is, I don't know what happened, but starting to leak. This is my Joanna the Nurse water bottle. It is a hydro flask. It is a, God, it was a 40 ounce. I heavily recommend buying it one with the straw, simply because the straw really helps you drink more. I know that sounds a little bit weird, but when you have to open it and it's a wide mouth, my gosh, it gets everywhere. So a straw is seriously a welcome investment. If it doesn't come with a straw, I highly recommend buying a straw. Trust me, you will drink way more water. On that note, I haven't drank any water today. Okay, that was my first glass of water today, so I don't really drink that much. However, when I was first breastfeeding, I keep wanting to say breakfast instead of breastfeeding, but when I first started breastfeeding, I actually went through like 3 or 4 of these, and it was crazy. You are so thirsty while breastfeeding, so I heavily recommend a hydro flask or something, because trust me when I say you are thirsty. I felt like he was drinking all of my fluids. He probably was. So now I'm not that thirsty. As you guys can see, I barely drink any water. It's super heavy because I haven't really drank any today. But get one of these when you're breastfeeding. Trust me, it's gonna help your milk and it's gonna help you. On that note too, I brought these. These are liquid IV. Again, nothing is sponsored. I bought these from Costco. Passion fruit and strawberry. I bought one. Okay, so these are bomb, actually. It kind of tastes like salt and sugar, because that's pretty much what it is. It's electrolytes, it's salt and sugar. It has 11 grams of sugar in it, which I'm not that fond about. And I just really started using these like 2 weeks ago. However, if you are breastfeeding, I recommend these because really it gives you a lot of hydration, and that is really what you need as a breastfeeding mama. Okay, how do you store and organize all your breastfeeding supplies and milk? Use breastfeeding bags and bottles. This brand, I'll be honest, I don't even know what this brand is. I bought it off Haakaa because it was super cheap, and then right after I bought it, I really didn't use it. They all come sterile, so as long as the bag is sterile, which everything is, you're fine. I used Medela bags, I used Laniso bags, and there's really no difference at all. Lay them flat though. When you store them in the freezer, be sure to lay them flat. You'll be able to store a lot more. So right here. And if I didn't freeze the milk, then I used Medela bottles just to store it in the fridge, and then Noah would take it the next day. Okay, on that note too, I totally forgot about my breastfeeding pads, but I do heavily recommend breastfeeding pads. They really make it feel a lot more comfortable for the person, just simply because when your milk starts to leak, it feels very uncomfortable. So I got breastfeeding pads. You can buy either reusable ones. They kind of look like the little cotton pads that I sell, but also too, they're bigger and you can put them in, or if you're gonna be out and about, I do like getting the disposable ones, even though it is a lot worse for the environment. It was nice because it stuck, it was sticky. So it just kind of depended on, where I was going, but I used both the sticky ones, and I used Medela or Laniso again, or I use the reusable ones as well. And that comes usually in a pack of 20, and it's like 10 bucks on Amazon. So it's a lot more eco-friendly, and it's a lot cheaper as well. Retinol during breastfeeding. Unfortunately, no retinol during breastfeeding or hydroquinone. Those are our skincare ingredients, and simply because no. So I have not used retinol actually, so I need to get on that. And are you still breastfeeding? No, not really, no. And final thoughts on breastfeeding. I think breastfeeding is beautiful. I think just having a baby is beautiful, and I think formula feeding is beautiful. Get your baby fed, that's all that matters. You know, if some people struggle breastfeeding, it is totally normal. I can tell you how many DMs I've gotten about people struggling with breastfeeding. I have so many of my friends, family, everyone, a lot of people I know have struggled with breastfeeding, so there's no shame in not being able to breastfeed. I think as long as your baby is fed and well taken care of, that's really all he or she is asking. That is really all I think anyone is asking. So yeah, so if you are breastfeeding, or if you just watched this video, I hope you guys really enjoyed it. I hope that you guys got a takeaway from it or anything like that. And I hope that's a good video. So thank you guys so much for watching, and yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Bye.